Hi everyone, welcome back. This week we're starting the book of Numbers. It's kind of a continuation of where we were in the end of Exodus. We're getting ready to leave Mount Sinai, head towards Canaan. We have some genealogies in here, which I'm going to skip over because they get very tedious and I can't pronounce half the names. But we will start it. All right, chapter 1 of the book of Numbers. The census. In the year following that of the Israelites' departure from the land of Egypt, on the first day of the second month, the Lord said to Moses in the meeting tent in the desert of Sinai, "Take a census of the whole community of Israelites, by clans and ancestral houses, registering each male individually. You and Aaron shall enroll in companies all of the men in Israel of 20 years or more who are fit for military service." And then we go through the 12 tribes of Israel. Jumping to verse 44. It was these who were registered, each according to his ancestral house, in the census taken by Moses and Aaron, and the 12 princes of Israel. The total number of the Israelites of 20 years or more who were fit for military service, registered by ancestral houses, was 603,550. The Levites omitted in the census. The Levites, however, were not registered by ancestral tribe with the others. For the Lord had told Moses, "The tribe of Levi alone you shall not enroll nor include in your census along with the other Israelites. You are to give the Levites charge of the dwelling of the commandments," that's the Ark of the Covenant, "with all its equipment and all that belongs to it. It is they who shall carry the dwelling with all its equipment and who shall be its ministers. They shall therefore camp around the dwelling. When the dwelling is to move on, the Levites shall take it down. When the dwelling is to be pitched, it is the Levites who shall set it up. Any layman who comes near it shall be put to death, while the other Israelites shall camp by companies, each in his own division of the camp. The Levites shall camp around the dwelling of the commandments. Otherwise, God's wrath will strike at the Israelite community. The Levites then shall have charge of the dwelling of the commandments. All this the Israelites fulfilled as the Lord had commanded Moses." Chapter 2. Arrangement of the tribes. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "The Israelites shall camp each in his own division under the ensigns of their ancestral houses. They shall camp around the meeting tent, but at some distance from it. Encamped on the east side toward the sunrise shall be the divisional camp of Judah, arranged in companies. The prince of the Judites was Nahshon, son of Amminadab, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 74,600. With Judah shall camp the tribe of Issachar. Their prince was Nathaniel, son of Zuar, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 54,400. And the tribe of Zebulun, their prince was Eliab, son of Helon, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 57,400. The total number of those registered by companies in the camp of Judah was 186,400. These shall be first on the march. On the south side shall be the divisional camp of Reuben, arranged in companies. Their prince was Elizur, son of Shedeur, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 46,500. Beside them shall camp the tribe of Simeon. Their prince was Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 59,300. And next the tribe of Gad. Their prince was Eliasaph, son of Reuel, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 45,650. The total number of those registered by companies in the camp of Reuben was 151,450. These shall be second on the march. Then the meeting tent and the camp of the Levites shall set out in the middle of the line. As in camp, so also on the march, every man shall be in his proper place with his own division. On the west side shall be the divisional camp of Ephraim, arranged in companies. Their prince was Elishama, son of Ammihud, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 40,500. Beside them shall camp the tribe of Manasseh. Their prince was Gamaliel, son of Pedahzur, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 32,200. And the tribe of Benjamin. Their prince was Abidan, son of Gideoni, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 35,400. The total number of those those registered by companies in the camp of Ephraim was 108,100. These shall be third on the march. On the north side shall be the divisional camp of Dan, arranged in companies. Their prince was Ahiezer, son of Amishadi, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 62,700. Beside them shall camp the tribe of Asher. Their prince was Pagiel, son of Okran, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 41,500. Next the tribe of Naphtali. Their prince was Ahira, son of Anan, and his soldiers amounted in the census to 53,400. The total number of those registered by companies in the camp of Dan was 157,600. These shall be the last of the divisions on the march. This was the census of Israel taken by ancestral houses. The total number of those registered by companies in the camps was 603,550. The Levites, however, were not registered with the other Israelites, for so the Lord had commanded Moses. The Israelites did just as the Lord had commanded Moses, both in camp and on the march. They were in their own divisions, every man according to his clan and his ancestral house. Chapter 3. The sons of Aaron. The following were the descendants of Aaron and Moses at the time that the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. The sons of Aaron were Nadab his firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed priests who were ordained to exercise the priesthood. But when Nadab and Abihu offered profane fire before the Lord in the desert of Sinai, they met death in the presence of the Lord and left no sons. Thereafter only Eleazar and Ithamar performed the priestly functions under the direction of their father Aaron. Levites in place of the firstborn. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Summon the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest as his assistants. They shall discharge his obligations and those of the whole community before the meeting tent by serving at the dwelling. They shall have custody of all the furnishings of the meeting tent and discharge the duties of the Israelites in the service of the dwelling." Again, the dwelling is the ark, where the Ark of the Covenant is kept. "You shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They have been set aside from among the Israelites as dedicated to me. But only Aaron and his descendants shall you appoint to have charge of the priestly functions. Any layman who comes near shall be put to death." The Lord said to Moses, "It is I who have chosen the Levites from the Israelites in place of every firstborn that opens the womb among the Israelites. The Levites therefore are mine, because every firstborn is mine. When I slew all of the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I made all the firstborn in Israel sacred to me, both of men and of beast. They belong to me. I am the Lord." Census of the Levites. The Lord said to Moses in the desert of Sinai, "Take a census of the Levites by ancestral houses and clans, registering every male of a month or more." Moses therefore took their census in accordance with the command that the Lord had given him. The sons of Levi were named Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The descendants of Gershon by clans were named Libni and Shimei. The descendants of Kohath by clans were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uziel. The descendants of Merari by clans were Mali and Mushi. These were the clans of the Levites by ancestral houses. And then each of those clans had specific duties with regards to the maintenance of the Ark of the Covenant and the carrying out, not priestly duties per se, but the duties that pertain to the maintenance of the Ark. Jumping to verse 40. Census and ransom of firstborn. The Lord then said to Moses, "Take a census of all the firstborn males of the Israelites, a month old or more, and compute their total number. Then assign the Levites to me, the Lord, in place of all the firstborn of the Israelites, as well as their cattle in place of all the firstborn among the cattle of the Israelites." So Moses took a census of all the firstborn of the Israelites, as the Lord had commanded him. When all the firstborn males of a month or more were registered, they numbered 22,273. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the Levites in place of all the firstborn of the Israelites, and the Levites' cattle in place of their cattle, that the Levites may belong to me. I am the Lord. As a ransom for the 273 firstborn of the Israelites who outnumber the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each individual according to the standard of the sanctuary shekel, 20 gerahs to the shekel. Give this silver to Aaron and his sons as ransom for the extra number. So Moses took the silver as ransom from those who were left when the rest had been redeemed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the Israelites, he received in silver 1,365 shekels, according to the sanctuary standard. He then gave this ransom silver to Aaron and his sons, as the Lord had commanded him. Chapter 4. Duties further defined. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, among the Levites, take a total of the Kohathites by clans and ancestral houses, all the men of the Kohathites between 30 and 50 years of age. These are to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent. The service of the Kohathites in the meeting tent concerns the most sacred objects. In breaking camp, Aaron and his sons shall go in and take down the screening curtain and cover the ark of the commandments with it. Over these they shall put a cover of tahash skin, and on top of this spread an all violet cloth. They shall then put the poles in place. On the table of the presence they shall spread a violet cloth and put it on the plates and cups, as well as the bowls and the pitchers for libations. The established bread offering shall remain on the table. Over these they shall spread a scarlet cloth and cover all this with tahash skin. They shall then put the poles in place. They shall use a violet cloth to cover the lampstand with its lamps, trimming shears, and trays, as well as the various containers of oil from which it is supplied. The lampstand with all its utensils they shall then enclose in a covering of tahash skin, and place on a litter. Over the golden altar they shall spread a violet cloth, and cover this also with the covering of tahash skin. They shall then put the poles in place. Taking the utensils of the sanctuary service, they shall wrap them all in violet cloth and cover them with tahash skin. They shall then place them on a litter. After cleansing the altar of its ashes, they shall spread a purple cloth over it. On this they shall put all the utensils with which it is served, the fire pans, forks, shovels, basins, and all the utensils of the altar. They shall then spread a covering of tahash skin over this, and put the poles in place. Only after Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sacred objects and all their utensils on breaking camp shall the Kohathites enter to carry them. But they shall not touch the sacred objects. If they they will die. If they do touch them, they will die. These then are the objects in the meeting tent that the Kohathites shall carry. Eleazar, son of Aaron, and the priest shall be in charge of the oil for the light, the fragrant incense, the established cereal offering, and the anointing oil. He shall be in charge of the whole dwelling with all the sacred objects and utensils that are in it. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, do not let the group of Kohathite clans perish from the body of the Levites, that they may live and not die when they approach the most sacred objects. This is what you shall do for them. Aaron and his sons shall go in and assign to each of them his task and what he must carry. But the Kohathites shall not go in to look upon the sacred objects, even for an instant. If they do, they will die. The Lord said to Moses, take a total among the Gershonites also, by ancestral house and clans, of all the men between 30 and 50 years of age. These are to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent. This is the task of the clans of the Gershonites, what they must do and what they must carry. They shall carry the sheets of the dwelling, the meeting tent with its coverings, and the outer wrapping of tahash skin, the curtain of the entrance of the meeting tent, the hangings of the court, the curtain of the entrance of the court that encloses both the dwelling and the altar, together with their ropes, and all other objects necessary in their use. Whatever is to be done with these things shall be their task. The service of the Gershonites shall be entirely under the direction of Aaron and his sons, with regard to what they must do and what they must carry. You shall make each man of them responsible for what he is to carry. This, then, is the task of the Gershonites in the meeting tent, and they shall be under the supervision of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Among the Merarites, too, you shall enroll by clans and by ancestral houses all of their men between 30 and 50 years of age. These are to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent. This is what they shall be responsible for carrying, all the years of their service in the meeting tent, the boards of the dwelling with all its bars, columns, and pedestals, and the columns of the surrounding court with their pedestals, pegs, and ropes. You shall designate for each man of them all the objects connected with his service, which he shall be responsible for carrying. This, then, is the task of the clans of the Merarites during all their service in the meeting tent under the supervision of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Number of adult Levites. So Moses and Aaron and the princes of the community made a registration among the Kohathites by clans and by ancestral houses of all the men between 30 and 50 years of age. Those were to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent, and as registered by clans, they numbered 2,750. Such was the census of all the men of Kohathite clans who were to serve in the meeting tent, which Moses took, together with Aaron, as the Lord bade him. The registration was then made among the Gershonites by clans and by ancestral houses of all the men between 30 and 50 years of age. These were to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent, as registered by clans and ancestral houses. This is getting very repetitive, right? Familiar? They numbered 2,630. Such was the census of all the men of the Gershonite clans who were to serve in the meeting tent, which Moses took, together with Aaron, at the Lord's bidding. Then the registration was made among the Merarites by clans and ancestral houses. Of all the men from 30 to 50 years of age, these were to undertake obligatory tasks in the meeting tent. As registered by clans, they numbered 3,200. Such was the census of the men of the Merarite clans, which Moses took, together with Aaron, as the Lord bade him. Therefore, when Moses and Aaron and the Israelite princes had completed the registration among the Levites by clans and ancestral houses, all of the men between 30 and 50 years of age who were to undertake tasks of service or transport of the meeting tent, the total number registered was 8,580. According to the Lord's bidding to Moses, they gave them their individual assignments for service and for transport, so the Lord had commanded Moses. Chapter 5. The unclean expelled. The Lord said to Moses, "Order the Israelites to expel from camp every leper and everyone suffering from a discharge and everyone who has become unclean by contact with a corpse. Male and female alike, you shall compel them to go out of the camp. They are not to defile the camp in which I dwell." The Israelites obeyed the command that the Lord had given Moses. They expelled them from the group. Unjust possession. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, if a man or a woman commits a fault against his fellow man and wrongs him, thus breaking faith with the Lord, he shall confess the wrong he has done, restore his ill-gotten goods, ill-gotten if he's stolen something, ill-gotten goods in full, and in addition give 1/5 of their value to the one he wronged. However, if the latter has no next of kin to whom restoration of the ill-gotten goods can be made, the goods to be restored shall be the Lord's, and shall fall to the priest. This is apart from the atonement ram with which the priest makes amends for the guilty man. Likewise, every sacred contribution that the Israelites are bound to make shall fall to the priest. Each Israelite man may dispose of his own sacred contributions. They become the property of the priest to whom he gives them." Okay, we're going to jump to chapter 6 now. Again, remember, listen closely to the end, see if it's familiar. Chapter 6. Laws concerning the Nazarites. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when a man or a woman solemnly takes the Nazarite vow to dedicate himself to the Lord, he shall abstain from wine and strong drink. He may neither drink wine, vinegar, or other vinegar, of any kind of grape juice, nor eat either fresh or dried grapes. As long as he is a Nazarite, he shall not eat anything of the produce of the vine, not even unripe grapes or grape skins. While he is under the Nazarite vow, no razor shall touch his hair. Until the period of his dedication, the Lord is over. He shall be sacred, and shall let the hair of his head grow freely. As long as he is dedicated to the Lord, he shall not enter where a dead person is, not even for his father or mother, his sister or brother. Should they die, may he become unclean, since his head bears his dedication to God. As long as he is a Nazarite, he is sacred to the Lord. If someone dies very suddenly in his presence, so that his dedicated head becomes unclean, he shall shave his head on the day of his purification, that is, on the 7th day. On the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the meeting tent. The priest shall offer up the one as a sin offering and the other as a holocaust, thus making atonement for him and the sin he has committed by reason of the dead person. On the same day you shall reconsecrate his head and begin anew the period of his dedication to the Lord as a Nazarite, bringing a yearling lamb as a guilt offering. The previous period is not valid because his dedicated head became unclean. This is the ritual for the Nazarite. On the day he completes the period of his dedication, he shall go to the entrance of the meeting tent, bringing as his offering to the Lord one unblemished yearling lamb for a holocaust, one unblemished yearling ewe lamb for a sin offering, one unblemished ram as a peace offering, along with their cereal offerings and libations, and a basket of unleavened cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, and of unleavened wafers spread with oil. The priest shall present them before the Lord, and shall offer up the sin offering and the holocaust for him. He shall then offer up the ram as a peace offering to the Lord, with its cereal offering and libation, and the basket of unleavened cakes. Then at the entrance of the meeting tent, the Nazarite shall shave his dedicated head, collect the hair, and put it in the fire that is under the peace offering. After the Nazarite has shaved off his dedicated hair, the priest shall take a boiled shoulder of the ram, as well as one unleavened cake and one unleavened wafer from the basket, and shall place them in the hands of the Nazarite. The priest shall then wave them as a wave offering before the Lord. They become sacred and shall belong to the priest, along with the breast of the wave offering and the leg of the raised offering. Only after this may the Nazarite drink wine. This then is the law for the Nazarite. This is the offering to the Lord, which is included in his vow of dedication apart from anything else which his means may allow. Thus shall he carry out the law of his dedication in keeping with the vow he has taken. The priestly blessing. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons and tell them, 'This is how you shall bless the Israelites.' Say to them, 'The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly,' or with favor, 'and give you peace. So shall they invoke my name upon the Israelites, and I will bless them.'" So that very last part, this translation, the Bible classifies or calls it the priestly blessing. It's sometimes called the Aaronic blessing because it was given to Moses from the Lord, who told Aaron. It was instructed to tell Aaron about it. So Aaron, Aaronic. It's what we hear every week as we are about to leave church. It's here it says, "The Lord look upon you kindly." We usually say, "Look upon you with favor." It's where the pastor or the priest says, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you his peace." So that's where that comes from. Our liturgy comes from somewhere. There's a reason we say the things the pastor in our case, says what he does. This is where it comes from. I'd point that out. So we're going to close with the Lord's Prayer, which also comes from somewhere, but it's in the New Testament. So we'll get to that later. But for now, let's just bow our heads and say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.